Hey everybody, it's Larry, the new youth pastor here at First United Methodist Church in Rockwall. And I wanted to just take a few moments to talk to y'all about a new problem that I'm noticing more and more right now. Especially as COVID-19 cases are increasing in Texas, I'm also noticing just an increase in people who seem to be exhausted and just so sick and tired of it all. But I also want to offer y'all a little bit of perspective about how we as people of faith can deal with exhaustion. Now, I think we're all dealing with exhaustion in different ways. I know I'm dealing with exhaustion. In Dallas, where I live, there's 1,000 new COVID-19 cases per day, and that's been true for the past 2 weeks. And that's just crazy to think about. It's exhausting to even think about those numbers. And then I get phone calls and text messages from different people telling me they've possibly been exposed to COVID, people at church, people in my personal life. And it's exhausting for me. I know it's more exhausting for them to have to even think about everything going on with COVID and their possible exposure. And on top of all that, y'all, my poor dog developed pneumonia last week, and we had to take her to a doggy vet to get some antibiotics. And then on Tuesday, y'all, I pull out of the parking lot, and all the warning lights go off on my car. I take it to the dealership. It turns out my car is no longer drivable, and I have to get a new car. So, y'all, I know for me it's been an exhausting week, but I know this is also true for so many of y'all. So many of y'all who are essential employees, you're still going into work, and that can be exhausting. Many of y'all are stuck at home and you want to go out, and just being stuck at home can feel exhausting. I know for many of our parents who have to look after their kids while working and managing all their other responsibilities, that can be exhausting. And I know as a youth pastor that our children and teens are exhausted. They're tired of having to be stuck at home. They want to see their friends. They want to go to camp. They want to re-engage. But right now, we're just in a really difficult spot for so many of us. And we're just all exhausted and burned out and tired and stressed. And maybe this is the most stressed out I've seen sort of America as a country in my lifetime, at least. But exhaustion is not something new. In fact, when we look at the Bible, we see there's multiple stories of people who suffer from exhaustion, both social and spiritual. I just want to lift up one of those stories to you all so that you can see how God provides for people when they are in that state of exhaustion. So this is a story of Elijah. Last time I talked to you all about Elisha. This is Elijah, who was the teacher of Elisha. And Elijah, immediately before this story, he had just gone toe-to-toe with the prophets of a false god named Baal. He had proven to them that God is the true God, there are no other gods. But then the evil king and queen, Ahab and Jezebel, they begin to pursue Elijah. They want to kill him. And so this is what happens to Elijah. After hearing this, Elijah was afraid. I'm reading from 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 3, in case you want to follow along. He heard this news, he was afraid. He got up and fled for his life, and he came to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and he left his servant there. So Elijah says, "Servant, you can stay here. You be safe. I'm going to go. I'm going to try to find somewhere where I can be safe, but I don't want to put you at risk by having you even be near me." But he himself, Elijah, went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a solitary broom tree. So he sits in the shade under this broom tree to try and get a little bit of rest. He asked that he might die. "It is enough now, O Lord. Take away my life, for I am no better than my ancestors." So let's pause here. Immediately before this, Elijah had just done this amazing feat of strength. But then when he begins to be pursued by this evil king and queen, his situation quickly changes. He's so exhausted. He's so tired. He's so burned out that he's saying things like this: "Take away my life. I am no better than my ancestors who have died." That's how crazy exhaustion can be. It can make us just say things that are a complete 180 from the way things were earlier. But then let's see what happens to him. Then Elijah lay down under the broom tree and fell asleep. Suddenly an angel touched him and said to him, "Get up and eat." He looked, and there at his head was a cake baked on hot stones and a jar of water. He ate and drank and lay down again. The angel of the Lord came up a second time, touched him, and said, "Get up and eat, otherwise the journey will be too much for you." He got up and ate and drank. And then he went in the strength of that food for 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mount of God. So what do we see here? How does Elijah deal with his exhaustion? How does God provide for him? In the middle of his exhaustion, Elijah takes a nap. Then he eats food. Then he drinks. Then he takes another nap. Then he eats more food. Then he drinks. And then he has the strength to keep going. Basically what I'm saying to y'all is that in the middle of his exhaustion, the only way he could deal with it was by resting and looking after himself, practicing self-care. And it's not only Elijah who thinks this is a good idea. God actually recommends that he does this through an angel. And so I wonder this week, How are you looking after yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? What are you doing to love the body that God gave you? What are you doing to look after your mind and soul? I mean, for me, I'm still trying every day to get in a little bit of exercise. I'm trying my hardest to get 8 hours of sleep. I'm also trying to read scripture every day, and I'm working hard on keeping up with my journaling, but I'm also taking time to be with my girlfriend. I'm taking time to catch up with family and friends, and I'm trying to, just watch one TV show each day, y'all. So what are you doing? What are you doing to look after yourself and deal with the exhaustion you have? Remember that as Christians, we're not called to power through. We are called to look after ourselves. If even Elijah, this great man of God, needed to pause and sleep and eat and drink before he could continue in strength, how much more do you and me today? So friends, I do hope you practice self-care this week. Look after yourselves and know that you are not called to power through. You are called to look after the one body, the one mind, and the one soul and spirit that God has given to you.